It is my honor this evening to introduce a special guest who would like to share a few congratulatory comments with you. U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar has joined us to share in the celebration of your successes and your achievement of graduating from high school. Senator Klobuchar, a 1978 graduate of Wayzata High School, was the valedictorian of her class. In 1999, she was chosen by a Wayzata High School Student Selection Committee to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award. Following high school, Senator Klobuchar went on to graduate magna cum laude from Yale University and the University of Chicago Law School. Before seeking public office, Senator Klobuchar was a partner with two prominent Minnesota law firms. She then served 2 terms as Hennepin County Attorney and was named Attorney of the Year by Minnesota Lawyer in 2001. Senator Klobuchar was elected to the United States Senate in 2006 and was re-elected in 2012. She currently serves on the Senate Agriculture, Judiciary, and Commerce Committees. She is the Senate Chair of the Joint Economic Committee, and she also chairs the Antitrust Subcommittee in the Judiciary Committee. We are so pleased to have her with us tonight and proud to call her one of our own. At this time, please join me in giving Senator Amy Klobuchar a warm Wayzata welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson. What an amazing thing to be invited to say a few words to all of you. To Principal Trevick, thank you so much for your work, to your board chair, to all of the members of the school board, to the parents, but most of all to the students. I remember sitting out there. I remember being nervous about tripping on my way to my seat. And I was actually, as I heard the music coming in, it actually most reminded me of an incident many years ago when I first went to Washington. And it was actually when Bill Clinton was president. I was prosecutor, and I was invited at the last minute to introduce him at a crime bill ceremony. And what I remember most was they had the military band there, and just like your song, they started playing Hail to the Chief, right? Do, 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 do. And I was standing next to President Clinton, and I just started walking in, and all of a sudden I felt this big hand on my shoulder, and this voice said, "I know you're gonna do great out there, but when they play that song, I usually go first." It's a true story. That was my first visit to Washington. So whatever happens to you today, it'll be better than that. I have so many fond memories of Wayzata High School and a few embarrassing ones. I was sitting here thinking about my high school prom, where the juniors didn't raise enough money and we had to have our senior prom at the Ridgedale Mall. And at the time, they had a fountain in the middle of the Ridgedale Mall, and I had a date who wore a maroon tux, and I wore a pink polyester dress. And he decided he wanted to dance in the Ridgedale Mall fountain. I decided that I would ruin my pink polyester dress and that this wasn't a good idea, and he asked another girl to dance in the fountain, and they got sopping wet. And my lowest moment was when the vice principal, Dr. Summers, said, "You look kind of sad standing there. We can give you a ride home if you need a ride home." Somehow I made it to the United States Senate, so. I was so impressed listening to all the accomplishments. 7-time winners, the synchronized swimming team. That's an amazing thing. The mathletes, the 6th year in a row, your math team took home the title in the Minnesota State League tournament. These are incredible accomplishments. But I think just as important are all the individual accomplishments that you all have. And I think you also know that you wouldn't be where you are today if it wasn't for your parents and your friends and family out there in the audience who stood and supported you every step of the way, and your teachers who have been there for you as well. I know a little bit about the value of education. My grandpa worked 1,500 feet underground in the mines in Ely, Minnesota, and he never graduated from high school. He never sat out on a floor like that with a degree in his hand. He never even made it to high school because he was working in the mines. And my dad was a newspaper man. He started in community college. He didn't go to college right away, and he went on to be a newspaper man. My mom taught in the Wayzata School District till she was 70 years old. And I stand before you today as the granddaughter of an iron ore miner and the daughter of a newspaperman and a Wayzata elementary school teacher and the first woman elected to the United States Senate from Minnesota. So I can tell you, that education matters, and Wayzata High School meant everything to me. My friends that were my best friends, think your best friends today, are still my best friends now, 35 years later. That's what Wayzata High School meant to me. Now, I know the superintendent gave you some great advice. I just have one little bit of advice, and that is when you get out there, you may not get your dream class that you take first wherever you go to school, or if you go right into the workforce, it may not be your dream job right away, or maybe your first summer job or your first job won't be your dream job. So my only advice is, having hired a lot of kids, having been in your position before, take your job seriously. My first job in Washington was as an intern for then Vice President Walter Mondale. And I got there, I was all really starry-eyed that I was going to make all this great public policy. I was in college. And my first job was to take the inventory of every single piece of furniture in the Vice President's office and his 100-member staff. And that meant that I had to crawl under sofas and tables and chairs for weeks and write down the serial numbers and match them against a list. And I can tell you I learned two things from that experience. First of all, the Vice President, hometown Minnesota boy, was very honest. Not one piece of furniture was missing. The second thing I learned was take those jobs seriously, because you know what? That was my first job in Washington, and this was my second. So remember that as you go ahead. Now, I think you know there's no question that our country faces great challenges in the coming years. You, as these graduates of high school right now, are going to be called upon to take on some great challenges to help us to be energy independent. We are on the way, but there's more to be done. To help us to be a fiscally sound country, to be willing to take on economic challenges, to be willing to do things that some of the kids in my class didn't do, to have more kids going into science and engineering and medicine and technology. Those are the needs we have right now. And of course, you can go into many things and fill many jobs, but that is a really important focus as we go forward as a country, so we can be a country that makes stuff again, that invents things, that exports to the world, and you are going to be a major part of that. Because I know, our state gave the world everything from the pacemaker to the Post-it note, right? So I know somewhere out there in that sea of blue and gold is going to be the person that invents the next Post-it note, the Post-it note of the day, that invents the next way we can be energy independent, or the next way we can plug in a car and make it go even farther, or the next way we can clean up an oil spill. Someone out there is going to do it. So I just encourage you to follow your dreams in every single way you can. So I'm just going to end with this. It's a little sentimental for me looking out there, because I actually haven't spoken to the Wayzata High School class since I did 35 years ago, and also because my daughter is graduating this year. And I want to tell your principal and your superintendent, if they think they're so great giving you guys 2 snow days, my daughter in the public schools in Arlington, Virginia, where they and Washington, D.C. cannot deal with even an inch of snow, during her high school years had 3.5 weeks of snow days. So guys, come on, get with the program. But in any case, I just want to end with this, and that is to invite you to our offices if you're ever in town with your parents, if you ever work in Washington for the summer, if you're just ever around. We always invite the entire state of Minnesota to breakfast every Thursday morning. And if you're really lucky, you'll come the day we have Spam Puffs. We always serve food from Minnesota. We maybe serve some food from a very famous Wayzata bakery. But in any case, when you come into our office, you'll see a picture on the wall, and it's a picture of a woman, and she's holding the world, the globe, and it's being handed to her by an angel. And the words under the picture read, "The angel shrugged, and she said, if we fail this time, it will be a failure of imagination." And then she placed the world in the palms of our hands. I put that up there because I believe we cannot afford to fail, that we cannot afford to not have that imagination, not only in Washington, D.C., but in this room today. And when I talked to your principal, when I talked to your superintendent and your teachers and heard about this great class of 2013, I know that we have no lack of imagination, and that as we hand the world to you, it is in very good hands. Congratulations, graduates. Go forward positively and do great things. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.